everybody. I'm a senior midwife with Hands-On Care Maternity and Birthing Clinic. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I've been here at Hands-On Care for, over 5 years now. I love it. And one of the services that I'm offering is Lamaze / yoga / exercise class. And I say it that way because we offer it to anyone at any stage of pregnancy, and I usually tailor the classes to who is attending. So if you're closer to your delivery date, and I have a group that's closer to birth and labor, we'll spend a lot of time talking about that. If I've got someone that is more newly pregnant, we may focus more on just general health and exercise and yoga. I also really love it when partners attend. Partners or / support people. So you don't have to have a significant other to come to these classes. But if you would like to bring your significant other or a support person along, that's fabulous, because I do like to tailor the information if I have support people attending to talk about how support people can help either manage things during your pregnancy, or if we're talking specifically about labor and birth. So yes, I offer classes typically every Sunday at 2 p.m. SLT. And as I said, anyone can attend at any stage of pregnancy, and with or without a partner. If you are a member of our group, you're going to see the notice for the class in the group, and I usually try to send those at the latest Sunday morning. But I do ask that if you plan to attend, if you could just drop me a note card or send me an IM, because space here is a bit limited, so I like to make sure I have enough room for everybody, so it does help to know who's planning to come. But we'd love to have you. Sometimes we also talk about breastfeeding issues, so if you're a mom that's postpartum or is not necessarily looking for childbirth information, but would like to come to a class and have a discussion about breastfeeding, that's something we offer as well. Like I said, I tailor it to whoever comes, and we just incorporate information on the fly. But I'd love to see you, and like I said, come and enjoy. You don't have to voice with me, but it does help if you can hear local, because as you're going to see, I provide lots of information, and it's just easier to voice that. But yes, I'd love to see you, and hope to see you real soon. Here, a lot of instructors talk about is when you feel a labor pain, and we'll talk about different things that you can call that in a minute, but when you feel that physical discomfort start to kind of come on, you take what's called a cleansing breath, which is just a nice breath like that. So you're not necessarily counting for too long, but you're basically taking a slow, deep breath as kind of a reminder that as the labor pain builds, it's kind of a reminder to you that, okay, you need to focus, that, you know, this discomfort is building, but it's going to go away. The other thing sometimes that's often recommended too is when the pain is over, you take another breath similar to that, another cleansing breath, as kind of a way to settle yourself down again, because discomfort, however we want to label this sensation, can naturally create this tension, stress response. And so that deep breathing before and after is sort of a reminder to your body that, okay, I'm settled, you know, I can handle this. I can increase my focus, but I can also exhale and calm my body down and ready myself for the next sensation. Just one other thing that I will mention, because different moms have different preferences, but the other thing we often talk about is when you hear the word contraction, what do you guys imagine? Is there Are there particular things that kind of that word alone stirs up for you? Other things that you can do, a lot of times if particularly in labor, let's say, if you want to imagine when you're exhaling, that you're exhaling a favorite color. Because as you're exhaling, if you're exhaling something and you're picturing something that brings you pleasure or peace, it automatically creates a sense of relaxation within you. Some exercises might say, imagine you're breathing out the discomfort, but I think in those cases, you're picturing more of the discomfort and you're not necessarily focusing on the relaxation. So if you can imagine as you're breathing out a favorite color or a favorite image, that can automatically create some of that relaxation that you may not be aware that you need. I like to. This is often called belly breathing, because you can put your hand on your belly, and as you're taking a deep breath in, you'll know you're taking a deep enough breath if you feel your belly press against your hand. Oftentimes with people who are struggling with stress or just anxiety, depression, they walk around and they don't really take deep enough breaths. And so this sort of forces them to make sure that they're really filling their lungs. And it's as simple as you're going to inhale for a count of 3. And then when you exhale, you're going to exhale for a count of 4. So your out breath or your exhale breath is always going to be a little bit longer. And then if you notice any tension anywhere in your body, if you can kind of make note of that and just direct any relaxation to those areas as you exhale. And we can do a couple of other exercises that I'll explain that more in depth. But let's just start really simple. We're going to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you're exhaling, you're going to feel your belly pull away from your hand. So it's pushing against your hand as you're taking that deep breath, and then as you exhale, you should feel it pull away. So we're going to do that again. We're going to breathe in for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. And we'll do that one more time, and then I'll add a little bit of a twist to it. So we're going to breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and steady. Now when you're exhaling, and this is good for labor role play or just, like I said, managing basic stress or anxiety. When you're exhaling, if you imagine that you're blowing out a candle, that'll also serve as a good reminder to exhale fully. Again, a lot of times when people are in physical pain or when they're in emotional distress, they have a tendency to hold back some of their air. So if you might feel a little silly, but if you imagine you're actually blowing out birthday candles, a natural sort of ebbing and flowing. Another word that I think is more popular with some of the moms that I work with, but similar kind of idea, is instead of calling it a labor contraction or a labor pain, using the word wave. Because it evokes a similar idea that there's an ebb and flow, and that no matter how strong your waves are or how close together they may seem, and I'll be honest, toward the end of labor, those things are going to be happening faster and stronger. But no matter how intense things are, there's always a break in between. It may not feel like much of a break, but there is a break. So if you can go into an experience mentally going, this is not going to be endless, that I just have to take each one of these things one at a time and basically ride the wave, so to speak. Sometimes that is a confidence builder, and that helps people relax. And sometimes I even, as we're practicing this stuff, and we can do this here if you like, is as you're breathing, imagine a wave coming to the shore and pulling away. So actually imagining that ebb and flow, and see if that changes your perception of things. We can do that now, or I can encourage you guys to practice at home, but I wanted to mention that because sometimes all it takes is just changing how you label something, and it can change your attitude about it. Because we are going to talk about when it comes to getting through pregnancy, or when it comes to getting through labor and birth, the more flexible you can be in your hips, in your back, just all in your pelvis, all kinds of areas of your body, the easier it's going to be for you to maintain upright positions. So even though this particular exercise isn't belly friendly, you can imagine where you'd be feeling this stretch in the back of your hamstrings, your hips, your back. And it's all of these places that you would want to increase flexibility. So I wouldn't recommend this one if you're fairly far along and you've got a belly, but there are other things that you can do that would create some stretch in these areas, particularly in early labor. When your surges or your waves are just beginning and you're needing this distraction because things are on their way, but you're not quite ready to go to the clinic, you're not quite ready to see your midwife. And so distraction in early labor, when your contractions are coming, 30, 20 minutes, even 10 minutes apart, and they're not terribly strong, but they're the beginnings of things. Repetitive movements like this can help kind of be that distraction, if that makes sense. Of course, you can always do low-key things like watch a movie, take a shower, but if you've got a lot of heat up energy and you want to do some stretching in early labor, or even just in the lead up to labor, these exercises are not bad at all. All right. Sister, as a matter of fact, a lot of times when you're entering the second stage of labor, which is when you're ready to push, a lot of times women will get on their sides and deliver like this. Because usually by that point, women are pretty tired. And so this is a good position because, again, you're practicing these leg lifts. And yes, you're right. You're right, Maddie Love. It's basically you're widening the area. You're giving the baby more room to pass through your pelvis. So again, it's increasing that flexibility, and then in preparation for labor and birth, if you can maintain a position like this, a lot of women will even push in this position because it doesn't require them to be upright, but it still allows them to push and create that space that the baby needs to come through. This is a way to sort of center your breath and practice just that general relaxation. But again, if you look at them, they're making eye contact, so they're working together, which is always helpful. Always helpful and important for a partner. All right. And if you notice how we're all sitting, again, we're getting a good hip stretch as well. Practicing opening that pelvis as much as possible. So if I could do this in real life, oh my goodness, how flexible would I be? But it's great that our avatars can do it, even if we can't do it. And stress and anxiety about what's to come. Just something simple that attends to that tension in your shoulders. And again, that reclining position kind of gives you a little relief, or this animation, because it does illustrate hands and knees. And incidentally, hands and knees is one of the most popular positions for women who are laboring or giving birth. If women are allowed to get in whatever position they want as they labor, this is often a popular one, in part because, like Maddie said, it gets the pressure off your back. First of all, you're not trapped in a bed, you're not laying on your back, you're actually upright. And this is a perfect position, Junior, just so you know, if you were supporting Maddie in her labor, if you weren't doing this with her, but actually were going to offer massage or encouragement, this is a position that gives any partner or support person free access to the mom's lower back, which is often where massage needs to be, or anywhere in the back that the mom is feeling tension. This is not going to show this, but if you can imagine offering massage to a lower back and adding just gentle downward pressure, is sometimes called counter pressure. This idea that when you're having a surge or a wave, the baby creates tension in a particular area, and that a partner, by applying gentle downward pressure, is sort of countering that tension. So it's providing this release of tension that the baby's. A lot of moms will say, they put like a towel or a pillow under their knees so they don't feel, the pressure necessarily of the floor. But even if you're not laboring, this is, again, a great position, just if you're, especially for you, Maddie, because you're pretty far along. And so you probably have a lot more of those hip discomforts, back discomforts that we've been talking about. So this is a great position for you to be in, just to, at the end of the day, if you're feeling tension in certain places. Notice that she's sitting straight. She's a little bit leaned forward, but it's good to have somebody there for support because, again, in real life, these balls, tend to be pretty bouncy and they can be a little bit slick. So if you can, always make sure that you have either the nurse or a partner behind you. But there's all kinds of things that you can do on a ball like this.